Hey, how's it going, guys? It's Mike in real life, and you are on the computer screen or something around that typical area. Today, I want to tell you guys about a little bit of a dream I had a few days ago. So it's not totally relevant to anything, but a lot of times I have these dreams where I can wake up and remember like everything that happened, and as soon as I do, I record them, not record them, but I keep track of what happened so I can go back and remember what happened. And I think it's really cool. I have a lot of fun doing it. In fact, just the other night I had this nightmare and I woke up absolutely terrified, and then as soon as I was relaxing to go back to bed, my mom's alarm went off and I like jumped out of my bed, curled up in a ball at the foot of my bed, and hid my face inside my hands, and I was absolutely terrified. The dream I want to tell you guys about is not that particular nightmare. Although perhaps I'll tell you about that, but I don't remember a lot of that one, so I don't think that one will be interesting to hear about. But the one that I'm going to tell you about started with, I believe it was my cousins, my brother. I think it was two of my cousins and my brother, and we were exploring this icy castle type thing, and it was just in this giant random room that didn't really have borders, but it was a room, so I mean it did have borders at some point. And we go inside the bottom of the ice castle, and inside like the beginning courtyard of the first floor, there was like a refreshment stand, and on this refreshment stand were cups. And inside the cups was this icy blue liquid, clearly going with the theme of the icy castle. And I'm not really sure what was inside this drink, but it tasted delicious. I remember fondly that it tasted delicious. And so we split up in two different directions. My brother and my cousin go one direction, and me and my cousin go in the other direction. And it's like a center stairwell that's split off in separate directions, and it goes all the way around as it elevates up to the top of the castle, and there's like a little balcony up there, and that's where everybody's kind of heading to. And so we, take individual stairs, and as the stairs get higher, the stairs begin to get narrower, and then about halfway up in the staircase, my cousin and I run into this blue knight kind of thing. He has this long pole arm, suit of armor, he is ready to go. And then out of nowhere, I have this huge spear slash pole arm type object, and I'm just poking at him. I'm just stabbing and poking, and just maybe he'll go away. And eventually, I think he slipped and fell off or something like that. Like I don't remember exactly what happened, but we got past him, and we continue to move up the stairs. And when we get to the top of the stairs, or just about as when we get to the top of the stairs, on my right there's like another stairwell, or maybe not a stairwell, but like a hallway, and then there's like columns that you'd see on the side of stairwells, and you can see them walking by us. And I'm not exactly sure who they were, but I think they were female. And they were walking towards the top, and they were on the top floor. And so we are just about to get to the top floor. And we get to the top floor, and on the top floor, is a group of people, and there's like a waterfall kind of thing going off the top. And apparently, where we had just come from, there was a pool of water at the bottom. And so when we got to the top, we were gathering up, and then people were like, well, we have to go back down, and the quickest way is to jump. So everybody was lining up at this cliff that looked over the courtyard of the castle, and they were just diving off into this huge puddle of water. Apparently, it would go deep, because if you were that high up, you'd need that depth to be able to, survive. So everybody's just jumping off crazy. I'm like, that is muy crazy. Like, I'm not jumping off and diving. I'm not even confident in my own diving ability into a pool, never mind this massive castle. So what I decide to do is I turn around, and I go down this slide. Now, apparently the stairs had turned into an ice slide, so I'm taking the same route that I just came up, but now it's a slide, and I believe at the bottom something happened. Oh, right. As I'm sliding down the slide, the ice slide, and it's going around in like a kind of a circle until we reach the bottom, I went head first because there was somebody that went ahead of me, and I wanted to catch up to her, so I went head first so I could, try to run and jump towards the slide. But about halfway down, this whole halfway down thing is really a pattern in this whole thing, I got really nervous, and because I was going head first, and I didn't want to run into something with my head, so I tried to like navigate the slide and kind of twist my body so that I wasn't facing, face first down to the slide. And I think I managed to kind of curl my way out of the head first thing, so I was like on my side, maybe a little bit towards my back, and I just slide into this chick. I don't even know who she was, but I took her out, and then boom, she just landed right on her butt. And so at the bottom of the slide, after I just took this chick out, the kind of person I am, I got up, I helped her up, and I apologized that I knocked her over and introduced myself. Pretty basic stuff. And then she started like grumbling or mumbling something, and I couldn't quite hear what she was saying. So I asked her to repeat what she was saying, and she did a little bit louder, and I still couldn't hear what she was saying. So again, I asked her to repeat, and this time she leaned in really close so I could hear her, and we're really close so we can hear each other. And she whispers, "I want my mommy happy." And I'm like, okay. I was like, that's really sweet of you, I guess. And she goes, she goes like, "My mom has never had success with men, and I just want her to find a man who can keep her happy and have that consistency in a relationship." And I was like, well, that's great. I was like, I'm really happy that you want that for your mother. And as I finished saying this, my girlfriend comes over from the left with one of her friends, and she's just really disgruntled. So apparently, I assume that because we were so close that she may have assumed that something was going on. And she took a pen and wrote on the bottom of my lip, and I'm not really sure what that means at all. But there was just pen all over the bottom of my lip, and then she just stormed off. And so I apologized to the girl that I was standing in front of because I didn't know what just happened, and I'm trying to get the pen off my lip. And I go off to the right and catch up with my family. I guess now it's like a family gathering, and I'm just going off to the right to get with my family, and I'm kind of run off and just kind of ignore what just happened because I didn't really know what just happened. So I begin to run off to the right so I can catch up with my family, and the girl that I was just with yelled at me, and she's like, "Hey, you forgot this." And I go back, and there's like this hard drive on the ground, and I'm like, all right, I'll roll with it. So I grab the hard drive and put it in my pocket and keep going. And as soon as I get with my family, apparently I have this camera bag on me and I need to strap across, and I put it down and I begin to take it out or something, and my cousin, or a different cousin than the other cousins that were there, is like, "Yo, that's my camera. Like, I left it somewhere and I want it back." And I was like, "You totally forgot about the camera. You don't treat it well. Maybe you don't. Maybe you shouldn't take it back, and maybe I should just keep it." And that was pretty much what I decided. I was going to decide that I was just going to keep it, and blah 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 blah. So I pack up the camera bag and just make sure she's not getting it because I don't feel like she deserves it. Which is totally irrelevant because she doesn't even own a camera in real life, so I don't know how that would even. I don't know why my dream kind of worked that way, but it did. And so I pack up the camera bag and continue going with the family gathering. And to describe the area that we were currently in, it was like a half circle kind of dome area. Not really dome, but everything was Christmassy, even though it's very past Christmas, and there was a light blanket of snow over everything. There's still lights and decorations up, and it's kind of a 180-degree seating area around a single stage, and on the stage there's this band or orchestra playing whatever type of music. I don't remember the music, but they were playing music, and around the seating areas they would put the sheet music in different areas so that other musicians who were in the audience could potentially play along with them. And there was this man who had a guitar, and he was apparently with my family, like this gathering, but he wasn't part of my family. And he had a guitar and he was playing the music, and so I helped the kid out. I think he had some problem with the sheet music, so I helped him out there, and then my family started to leave, so I packed up and kind of grabbed my stuff and was going on to catch up with them. And then I forgot to give something to him, so I had to turn around again, and it was like this thing that I attached to his ear. I'm not really sure. Maybe it's just one of those earpieces so he can hear the music. I don't remember what it was. But I had to put something in his ear, which is really strange. And then I caught back up with my family, but now they were a little bit beyond where they were before, so they went over like these steps, and like there were these massive steps. They were like stone steps, and they were rather large, and people were sitting on them, and it was like a drum circle almost, except it was only like a 45-degree angle seating area, and there were just these people hand drumming, and I guess it was a guy on a kit, and he was just all over the place. And I had to like kind of navigate my way through this crowd of drummers on these stairs because I have to get over them, and for some reason there's just no way to go around apparently in my dream. So I'm climbing up the stairs, and this kid grabs my ankle, and I'm like, "Dude, I'm sorry, like I didn't mean to get in your way, I'm just trying to go, I'm trying to catch up with my family." And he looks at me, and he just gives me this awful look, and I don't really know what he's doing. He just grabbed my ankle. And so my first instinct was to grab his drumsticks and just throw them as far as I could. And he was just like, "Yo, what was that for?" And I just kept going. I didn't even care at that point. I just threw his drumsticks, kept going. He was disgruntled. I was alright. And in order to catch up with my family, now this area, it was like a game show or maybe like a competition where people had to they were wrapped in giant Christmas boxes. And they had to pop out of these Christmas boxes and then run to their partners and then unwrap them, who were also in Christmas boxes. And then the two of them would have to run to a third stage and then do something, but I don't really remember what that third thing was. So I just start running through all this crowd of people, and I'm not part of the game show, but I think everybody thinks I am part of the game show because I'm just kind of in the area. And so I'm just running through everybody, and I'm running on top of the Christmas boxes because I don't want to touch the ground because I think it's icy or something, and I'm just running across the Christmas boxes. And then I have to get on the ground for a little bit between the two areas, and then I get up on the Christmas boxes again, and in one of the Christmas boxes, somebody's hand is sticking out of the Christmas box. So you have a box. I need a box. You have a box, and someone's hand is just sticking out of it like that. And it's just really goofy looking, and I think it's really funny that I kind of ran into that. I stopped and looked at it for a second, but I had to keep going because for some reason I was in a rush now. I don't know why, but I was in an immediate rush to get to my family. And after the second area, I came across this restaurant, and I think they were selling corn dogs, so that's what I want to tell myself that they were selling, but I don't really remember that part. And so what happened was, because I don't really know what happened in the food place, but I turned to the right, and there was like a tent area, like people were setting up camping equipment, and this girl started chasing after me, and this girl has nothing similar to any other girl that was anywhere else, and she kept chasing me, and I think she thought I was attacking her, but I'm really not sure why. So I was running around people, and like there was this police officer. I was like, dude, are you gonna stop her? Like, she's clearly trying to attack me of a sorts, and she thinks I'm attacking her, and I'm not, and I just want some help. And he's just like, dude, bro, I'm on a break. Can't do anything. Can't help you. And I was like, great, you're a wonderful example. And so she's chasing me, and then I finally figure out that her brother is one of the people setting up a tent in the tenting equipment area, and there's like, strings all over the place, and it's really decorative, and it looked quite beautiful. But for some reason I was not able to stop and enjoy this setup decorations, of course, because the guy was chasing me, blah blah blah. And so I run over to him, and I like knock over his tent, and she stops chasing me, and she's like, well, why'd you do that for? And I was like, well, you were chasing me, and he was like looking at me weird, and it made you stop, didn't it? And she's like, yeah, but now I have to clean up this mess. And I was like, well, great, have fun with that. And I start walking away because I don't know why, but, clearly I'm not going to help him because she just chased me, and I don't know, dream logic. And so I'm walking, and then all of a sudden, like, this guy, I see my brother, and he's, like, playing with these toys, I think. And someone next to him says, don't say it. And then my brother says, Star Wars. And when he says that, these rebel pilots, the orange jumpsuits or the white helmets, they walk by me like they're in some kind of, like they're on some kind of quest to get somewhere. And they're walking by me, and I'm suddenly the size of the toys, or perhaps the toys is the size of me, and I'm not in the same area I was. I'm clearly in like a Star Wars rebel space hangar, and people are walking all over the place. But then something happens, and then I'm suddenly standing like next to my brother, and he's playing with these toys, but they're still moving. And I'm like, well, how are you doing that? How are you making them move? And he's like, I'm not making them move. And I was like, yes, you are. I can see you. You're making these things move. They're Star Wars figures, and you're making them move. And he's like, no, I'm not. And he's like, I'm like, how are you doing it? And then he's like, all right, well, I'm just... And then as soon as he says that, I wake up. And I have no idea how he was making them move. So maybe that was the clear secret to making toys come to life, because maybe they do. Maybe they do become real when you leave the room. Who's to say they don't? You're not there to prove it. I'm not there to prove it. My dream was pretty real to me. I mean, that's a good argument if I ever had one. So that's my dream, guys. I really don't know how to interpret any of that, but if you guys want to take a stab at it, go right ahead, because there's no harm in it, because I don't know how to interpret any of that, or if that was just fun, or if that was exciting. I had a lot of fun with it because I experienced it as if it was real, so I always think they're really fun to wake up to. I think what's more fun is when you wake up from a nightmare and you're like exhilarated, you're like pumped, ready to go, because you have no idea what's going on. And so if I have any more interesting dreams, I have plenty of them. They're written down all over the place. If I have any more in the future when they're more relevant and I can remember a lot of it, I'll be be sure to tell you guys. I would love to share this because I think they're really fun and interesting, and it's like living an action movie, and I think that's always really fun. So thank you guys for listening. That is my dream. Perhaps a nightmare to come up. I don't know. Maybe not. Anyways, have a nice day, guys. Thanks for listening. Adios.